All right, so I am going to be sharing my screen so that we can go over the ways that you can find out about who's on the ballot and who is worthy of your vote. So bear with me here. I am new to this part of the process, so give me one moment. All right. So, how you locate this information. You want to do a search and put in the search box who is on the ballot, who's on my ballot. And you should be able to go to um, this website if you are in Fulton County. If you're not, it'll take you to your county's ballot. You'll see that you have voting elections sample ballots. So you would scroll down here. They have the ballots separated by Republican, Democratic, and nonpartisan. So I clicked the Democratic ballot, even though I am an independent. I did click the nonpartisan. I did click the Democratic ballot because I usually vote Democrat. If there is an independent candidate, it makes sense. I am definitely going to exercise my right to vote for them. But that is how you would first find this section that you want to click on to view a sample of the ballot. And then it will take you, if you're in Fulton County, to this page. So when you get to this page, the Fulton County Elections Democratic Sample Ballot, you'll be able to see who is running for the incumbent Senate race, who is running for governor, who's running for lieutenant governor, secretary of state, attorney general. I see Tanya Miller listed here. I'm definitely voting for her. I'll tell you in another live stream why she is a powerhouse that you definitely want to support for attorney general if you believe in the rule of law and that everyone, no matter who they are, should be following the law. And then you have the agriculture commissioner, the commissioner of insurance, the state school superintendent, labor commissioner, public service commissioner. I did vote for Peter Hubbard in the last election, and hopefully he will win. And then they have the public service commissioner for District 5. I think we're District 5. United States House of Representatives for District 5. I'm looking for a new person. Nakima Williams is the incumbent. She's someone that I've reached out to on several occasions, and I've gotten form letters from her, nothing personalized, which is an issue. District 6, Lucy McBath is the incumbent. District 7 for the United States House of Representatives. These are all the people that are running. And then you have the state Senate races. And there's a lot of people here. I see Nan Orrock. This might be my district because Nan Orrock is my representative. I will not be voting for her. When we had a personal family issue that should have been an important matter for my representative to help me facilitate a peaceful and amicable solution, she had no interest in helping me at all. And so I will not be voting for Nan Orrock. That doesn't mean I'm going to vote for her Republican challenger if she has one. I just know I won't be voting for her. These are the state house representatives that are running for the county chairperson. I actually respect Rob Pitts, but I am going to be looking between these two people. Mo Ivory is interesting to me. I actually spoke with uh, chairperson Marvin Arrington, which I really appreciated. And so that is going to be a hard one for me. I've met with Fulton County Chairperson Pitts. Now, I have some issues with them prioritizing a new jail over making sure the current jail has the adequate services it needs. It will take years to build a new jail. I'm sure they know that. And so the problem with the jail isn't just that the jail is in bad repair, in desperate need of repair, but the problem with the jail is that they are not giving people fair and speedy trials. Um, Let me see who else. All right. Okay. Here are the questions on the ballot. Should the state of Georgia raise the sales tax on everyday items like clothing, food, and school supplies to pay for an income tax cut that would make millionaires or billionaires richer? Huh? Should Georgia raise the sales tax on everyday items to pay for an income tax cut that would make millionaires and billionaires richer? Well, the obvious answer to that is no, but I need to ask somebody about that question because sometimes the most obvious answer isn't what they're going for. Two, is it ethical for political candidates who have used their public offices to enrich themselves and their families or have had nearly $1 billion of business dealings with the state of Georgia to hold statewide office? The answer to that is absolutely no. It is not ethical, and it is something that we definitely should. If you are like me, who believes that the conflict of interest that has created one of the biggest messes that we're in, is because people are not being ethical, that is definitely a no. County Democratic Party question 3. Did you know that Georgia Republicans want to defund police and fire departments across 15 cities in Fulton County through their proposal to eliminate property taxes, which fund municipal services? Interesting. Interesting. That's a very interesting question. And I might reach out to some of the representatives to see where they stand on this. They want to defund police and fire departments across 15 cities in Fulton County through their proposal to eliminate property taxes. Which fund municipal services? Is that the only source of funding for the police and the fire departments? That's an interesting question. I don't know how I'm going to answer that one because the way that that's worded, defunding the police, is something I 1000% support. But in terms of the fire departments, gotta do a little bit more research on that. On January 28, 2026, the FBI raided the Fulton County Election Office and took your personal data. Do you think they should have your personal voter data? Absolutely not. I am I am outraged that more people aren't fighting about that and putting in lawsuits about that. That is horrible. Are you aware a sitting Republican Fulton County Board Commissioner served as a witness alongside other 2020 election conspiracy theories on the affidavit the FBI used to steal your private election information? No, but we do need to know who that was. Should known 2020 election deniers sit on the Fulton Board of Registration? Absolutely not. That is a no. All right, those are some interesting questions. Haven't quite seen those kind of questions before, but this is why you want to do your research beforehand because you don't want to go in there and be like, oh my God, what does this mean? Okay, if I say no, does that mean? So you want to make sure you're doing your research before you go into that room and cast your ballot. So John Ossoff was someone that I previously did research on, and I wanted to show you how I did John Ossoff's research. I'm going to do is make sure that I look at his record. So I want to see how he's voted. I know he's pretty popular. I've been in contact with his office on several occasions. I was very disappointed in the response that I received from him. And so I was leaning towards not voting for him, which is going to be where I'm going to most likely stay, but I want to see his record, voting record. So I'm going to put in his name, put in voting record. I'm going to see if I can go back to, I'm going to see if I can go back to where I saw his voting record before. Um, and so, um, so a lot of the stuff they vote on is for like these, these things that don't mean anything to the average person. A bill to designate the facility of the U.S. Postal Service located at 119 Main Street in Plains, Georgia, as Jimmy and Rosalind Carter. Okay, post office, I guess. So that is, whatever. Great. Now, this is the federal oversight. This is the Federal Oversight Act. The Federal Oversight Act. And this bill, it passed the House and it passed the Senate. Okay, and then it was signed by the president on July the 25th, 2025. This bill passed both houses and was signed into law. The bill was introduced. Um, Legislation not passed. Okay, let's see if we can find out what the Prison Oversight Act is. So it's a little discouraging that you can't just click on it and see what the darn bill is. Let's see. This is it. So we don't know. Let's see what was actually. Let me go here because sometimes they change. Um, they change the original text. Okay, this is the Federal Prison Oversight Act. Um, I'm sorry, y'all. So you want to bear in mind that most people in prison are not in federal prison, especially people that look like me. We're not doing a lot of time in federal prison, but that doesn't mean they don't have a dire need for reform. They definitely do. Um, I should be able to click on this and open it up, and it is not working. So disappointed in that. Read the latest text. Okay, hold on. This is okay. Prison Oversight Act. Okay, let's see if we can finally get what it's saying here. So when they do this act, they first give you the definitions because these people are usually lawyers, and sometimes their words don't mean what they would mean to the average person. They'll speak legalese or they'll use terminology that is different from what we are used to using when we use a phrase or a term. All right, so this is from what I'm seeing here, inspections, Bureau, Covered Facility, Inspector General. Um, so let's see if we can just go back to the first thing. Not very user friendly. Um, mm, mm, mm. Inspections of covered facilities by the Inspector General. Establishment of inspections regime. The Inspector General shall conduct periodic inspections of covered facilities pursuant to requirements of this subsection. The Attorney General shall ensure the Inspector General has access to any covered facilities, including the incarcerated people, detainees, staff, bargaining unit, representative organization, in accordance with paragraph 4. Any other information determined to be necessary to carry out the provisions. Notice of inspection. Inspection of a covered facility under this subsection may be announced or unannounced. Community input. In developing the inspections regime under the subsection, the Inspector General is encouraged to consult formerly incarcerated people, family or representatives or of incarcerated people and community advocates. Inspection criteria. An inspection of a covered facility under this subsection may include an assessment of the following: the policies, procedure. Okay, this is about um, the the inspection of prisons when there are allegations of use of force. So lockdowns, incidents involving threatened violence, sexual abuse committed against the staff, adequacy of staffing at the covered facility. So this is the one that was passed to protect the staff in the federal prisons, which is important. But where is the protection for the actual inmates who are sometimes in danger from the staff? So I know how they attempt to play games with what they know to be a serious problem, which is the harassment and abuse of inmates in state and federal custody. And they will act like they're doing something and then go and pass something like this, which is protection for the staff only. So this is that's typical. Military Families Mental Health Services Act. That's an important issue. And I hope that continues. I hope that is going to be enforced. Prison Camera Reform Act, a bill to require the director of the Bureau of Prisons to address deficiencies and make necessary upgrades to the security camera and radio system of the Bureau of Prisons to ensure the health and safety of employees and inmates. So that is a very important bill. I do appreciate that that has been passed. Seems like that is a law. That's an extremely important bill. I'm glad he addressed that. Um, I want to really see his voting record. I'm interested in the voting record because when I did a previous search, according to his voting record, he had actually voted for DC not to be able to have their own law enacted. It's something that was passed by their voters and something that they wanted to see be um, a law that affected them. And let me just say this about why that's important. If the people in DC were given their right to vote, we would have more. We would have more electoral college numbers for the Democratic side. And these people are also being taxed, but they don't have representation. That is against the Constitution. That's that's unconstitutional all day long. If you know about the Constitution, you know that that is a violation of the Constitution. But yet they turn around and they violate the sovereignty of DC all the time. So that is why I personally will not be voting for Ossoff. Now it says, um, so this is his voting record. Okay, so it says he voted yay to the Commerce, Justice, Science, Energy, Water Development, the Interior Environmental Appropriations Act. He voted yay to providing for congressional disapproval, providing for congressional disapproval under Chapter 8 of Title 5 of the United States Code of the rules submitted. I don't know that. I would have to look into that really good. Um, he voted against Jerome Powell being the chairman of the Board of Governors of the Federal Reserve System. He voted yay for the nomination of Monica Bertagnolli to the director of the National Institutes of Health. He voted yay to this person's confirmation. Abigail Slater. Okay, he voted against Abigail Slater being the Attorney General. This is interesting. These are how many votes he missed. From January 2021 to April 2026, he missed 100 of 2,399 roll calls, which is 4.2%. This is worse than the median of 2.8% among the lifetime records of senators currently serving. So where was he that he was not available to vote 100 times? Where was he? What was he doing? Why wasn't he voting on behalf of the people he is supposed to be representing? So he missed a lot of votes in here. He's missed a bunch of votes there. This is another thing they do. These people are getting paid a lot of money and they're not showing up for work. So let's do some math here. Let's look at some numbers. So how much is Jon Ossoff worth? Did I spell it right? Yes. So sometimes people can lie about this, but let's see what his wealth is according to this. 15 million, which isn't crazy. That's not crazy for how some of these senators are worth hundreds of millions of dollars. So that's a plus for him. How much does Jon Ossoff make as a senator? Okay, so as a senator, he is only making $174,000 a year. Anywhere in the country, that's going to be a decent to pretty decent income. But he is worth $15 million a year, and he is not showing up to vote on behalf of his people. So that's disturbing, and that is something you should know. The next person that I am going to examine on the list. Let's take a look here. I'll do everyone is in the race for governor on the Democratic side when I come back to do another live stream. But I wanted to do this today for us to get started because Senator Ossoff makes $174,000 as a senator. He is worth $15 million according to that website, but he has missed 100 days of work. So that's something to think about. Will you be voting for Jon Ossoff? Leave your comments below, please. I would love to hear what you have to say. All right, bye-bye.